A full-length record from Movements has finally arrived. Guys, this has seriously been one of my most anticipated albums of 2017. Feel Something is finally here, so you know what that means. It's time for a review. I found this band about a year ago, and since then I've been talking about them on my channel like non-stop, praising them for so long now, and it's crazy because back then they only had one EP under their belt, and they still managed to win me over. I was just so impressed and literally blown away by how good they sounded. The Outgrown Things EP definitely showed the heavier, angsty, more post-hardcore side to Movements, and on Feel Something we're getting a lot more, I think a little bit softer, it's toned down just a bit, and we're getting a lot more emotional, feely type material on this album that can definitely be considered just straight up emo in genre. They haven't completely shifted their sound or anything like that, but I think they're definitely showing us a, more mature side to the band, especially with a lot of the topics they are writing about on this album, including Alzheimer's, anxiety, and depression, and just mental health overall, and they're diving into relationships and other things like that in a less angsty and angry way, I feel like. Pat's doing a lot more singing rather than screaming, and also some spoken word that's thrown in there quite a few times, and I really do dig that. That just allows him to kind of show off his passion in a different manner. And although I was a bit disappointed that there wasn't a ton of screaming on this record, because I really like the way he sounds when he screams, I am pretty pleased with this album in general though, because it has its heavier moments, just like on songs like Under the Gun, Suffer Through, and The Gray. So let's dig deeper into some of these songs. The first track, opening track, Full Circle, has one of the catchiest and most memorable choruses on this album, and it's getting better with every single listen for me. I also really love the way Pat is kind of singing these verses, because he puts like a lot of emphasis on like the end of each rhyme of the sentence. It just kind of sounds pretty cool how it flows together and just literally rhymes. It makes it easier for you to kind of remember and sing along to. I also noticed a bit of a lyrical parallel that calls back to a song on the Outgrown Things EP. He says he's still trying to mend the holes in his jeans, and if you take a look at the lyrics to their song Worst Wishes, there's a line that says, ending up with nothing but holes in my jeans. So basically he's saying that not much has changed. He's still battling something here, and I don't know, I just thought that was pretty interesting. And I think my favorite part of this album is actually the middle, with songs like Daylily, Colorblind, Deadly Dull, and Suffer Through. A lot of those are top favorites for me, and the ones that I tend to just keep coming back to over and over again. Daylily is my absolute favorite on Feel Something, like hands down. That is the one that I've been playing the most. It makes me a little bit emotional, as does a lot of this album, but this one in particular is very special to me. It's obviously about dealing with depression of some sort and just not feeling right and having this like really strong numbness that kind of overcomes you, and just you don't want to do anything. Nothing sounds exciting. It's just very dull in your life. And that's a feeling I am too familiar with. And I like that this is actually not about himself. It's from his perspective, but he's like talking about somebody or to somebody that he really cares about. I'm assuming it's his girlfriend or somebody in his family, somebody that he's really close with. He's been watching them suffer for a really long time now, and he's making an effort to lift their spirits in any way that he can. And I absolutely love the lyric in this, the whole chorus that says, I think it's time you had a pink cloud summer because you've gone too long without a smile. It's sweet yet heartbreaking at the same time, and all too relatable. I recently talked about Colorblind on my channel in the last video I uploaded for my favorite songs at the moment, and this was actually the lead single for this album, and I still think it holds up as one of the best songs on the record. It has one of the best choruses. It's raw and honest, and there's a ton of passion in Pat's vocal delivery. You especially hear that in his screams, and if there's one thing that this album is missing, I think it's that. I mentioned this before, but I really love the way he sounds when he screams. I think it adds a lot of character to the songs, a lot of passion and just deep emotion and anger, and I don't know, it sounds so good with their style. So if I had to complain about one big thing here, it's that this album is kind of missing those powerful screams that I loved so much on their EP. But another one that I really like on this album is called Deadly Dull, and I actually got to experience this song live back at Warped Tour. They played this. I did not know the name of it yet, and obviously because it wasn't out yet, but I remember listening to the lyrics and then playing it live. and I honestly started to tear up. Like, my emotions just kind of took me over. This song is about Alzheimer's and dementia, and my own grandma actually was struggling with that for like the last few months. She just passed away at the end of August, so obviously this song is gonna hit me hard. It's such a heartbreaking topic, and it's incredibly hard to watch a loved one go through that, especially someone that you were close with in your life. And I love the lines here that talk about, you know, they pretend to know who you are, and then they just keep asking the same questions over and over, and they just constantly forget. It's tragic, but at the same time, I'm really happy that Movements wrote a song about this, because honestly, there isn't enough talk about this disease in music. So like I said in the beginning, this album is a lot softer and just kind of more relaxed in general as an album when compared to their EP. And although I normally prefer like louder music, I'm actually starting to really catch on and enjoy the song Fever Dream, which is completely acoustic, and it's one that I originally was kind of writing off a bit when I would just listen to this album in the background like casually. But this is a pretty chill song actually, and there's a lyric in here that's very relatable that caught my attention. It says, "Losing friends as fast as I'm losing sleep." Not gonna go into details how that relates to my life, but just believe me. There are a few heavier, louder songs that I really like towards the end of this album, sort of like the beginning of the end of this album, like after the middle but not quite the end yet. Deep Red is one example that has this really awesome, just hard-hitting grungy guitar, especially towards like the end of the song. It's so overpowering and just kind of stands out on its own, and it sounds absolutely awesome. Really does remind me of Citizen's work. Love that overall sound. And then after that we have Suffer Through, which is another one of my top favorites on this record. It has an in-your-face chorus with louder, more yelling type vocals, which obviously I can appreciate. I'm really loving the intensity of this track's hook. It just grabs you out of nowhere, and that's what I've been wanting from Movements. I knew they were capable of it, and I think this song is one of the best on the album that does it that well. And I also think this song is going to be one of the biggest favorites probably for fans when they play it live. It just sounds like it's going to be epic overall, and I cannot wait to hear it. So in general, I'm enjoying this album pretty well. I still think I like a lot of the songs from their EP just a little bit better than the majority of this, just because that's more of the style that I'm into. It's just my personal preference. I don't think it's necessarily written better, but I just feel like it kind of grabs you a little bit more. But this is a pretty solid album from Movements that dives into more serious topics lyrically and definitely holds up instrumentally and musically in pretty much every area. I'm totally going to be playing this throughout this fall, and I'm so happy to say that I'm going to be seeing them with Knuckle Puck in November. Absolutely cannot wait to hear some of these new songs. It's gonna be a blast to sing along to a lot of these, especially Daylily and Suffer Through. I hope they're playing those too, I'm sure they are. But what do you guys think of this album? Do you think it was a positive step forward or a step back? Are you more of a fan of the EP's style and sound, or do you think they went in a pretty good direction here with Feel Something? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like on this video. Thanks so much for watching today, and that's actually gonna be it for me. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.